it's that mindset, right? How are we physically changing the lever of you can do this? We are often told it's the five people that you surround yourself with. So if you go to that pod of people, that five people, and they're not challenging, leveling you up, then you have to figure out where to level up. And like we were talking about before, finding those five, especially as an adult, is really challenging and really hard. And that's why I love that you have this podcast and this community, because that's what you're doing, right? You're bringing all of us ladies, all of us girlfriends to the table and then be like, I'm going to share something with you and it's going to change your life. It's going to, explode.
Hello, amazing humans, and welcome to episode number 306 of the Game On Girlfriend podcast. You've heard it before. If you really want to be wealthy, invest in real estate. And if you're anything like me, you might just roll your eyes. It's a little bit like insert eye roll here, right? It's like, come on, with this real estate thing, stop it, stop it. But today's guest talks about how business owners, yes, especially people like you and me, business owners, and she works really intensely with women to help us understand how to use real estate to grow business and vice versa. This is like such a cool project, such a beautiful idea. And I'm so aligned with Katie's goal. Wait for it. It's at the very end of this podcast episode. You're going to be so inspired by her goal and what she wants to do with putting more money in the hands of more women. Made my heart sing. I can't wait for you to hear that part. But I also want you to listen for how accessible this is. So often as women, we feel left out of a lot of investment conversations. We still know women are still only getting around 2% of the venture capital that is available out there in our businesses. This is still a conversation we are breaking into. And when we as women turn to each other and start educating each other and start turning this into our business, meaning both literally our business, but also our concern, our business to be taken care of, things can really, really shift. And so as you listen to what Katie talks about today, I want you to listen for how you could participate in this in your own way. What parts of it make you feel intimidated and what parts of it actually intrigue you? Because that's how you're going to understand where your best next step lies as I talk to my guest, Katie Kim, today. Katie Kim is the CEO of the Kim Group and founder of the Katie Kim Educational Platform. With over 30 years of experience in real estate and construction, Katie helps business owners and investors confidently structure development deals using public-private partnerships. Through her developer for fee model and real estate development academy, she empowers others to stop playing small and start building strategically. Known as the developer's developer, Katie is on a mission to make real estate accessible, profitable, and purpose-driven for the next generation of builders. If this is something that you think just like this much, like a tiny, tiny bit, you think you could participate in, I really want you to listen today. Katie is so heartfelt. There is so much warmth coming from her. Her mission is so clear. And the way that she dives into our dreams and understanding what we want our next level of impact to be, it's so touching. It's just the best word I can give you is touching, and it's inspiring. And it's time for all of us to step into areas of finance and into investment and into real estate that we may have been uncomfortable to step into before, because never before has there been a time where we need more money in the hands of more women. So pop in those earphones and let's get to it. Katie, welcome to the Game On Girlfriend podcast. Boy, am I excited you're here today talking about money and real estate and developing. Oh my gosh.
Yes, me too. Thank you very much for having me, Sarah. I'm excited.
Let's break this down. I want all of the money in all of the women's hands everywhere. Let's freaking go. I love this so much. But before we jump into all things development and the gooey goodness that waits all of us if we participate or choose to participate, I got to know, Katie. You're a very smart woman. You've done a lot of things in your life. There's clearly a lot of avenues you could have chosen, right? There's a lot of different things you could have done with your life. Why is this the thing that has grabbed your attention and had you decide that this is what you're going to do with your life?
Oh, that's a great question. So little backstory how I got there is honestly, I got pissed off. And looking at when you're in high school, right? Even going back to those awkward puberty years is
Yes.
you're good at math and science, you should go be pre-med, right? You should. So everybody tells you where your path is going. And I feel like that's your journey along the way. In my 20s, I was finding out different paths and what I was good at. And then I really lean into like, I want to build the life I want. I want to build my financial freedom. I want to work when I want to work. My guilty pleasure is vacations. Like that, if any, that's my love language. If anybody wants to give me vacations. So,
I'll go with you anywhere,
okay,
anywhere you want to go.
let's go.
Yeah.
And I realized I was grinding for somebody else's dream in my W-2. And so I thought coming back to the family business, I could help build something that would be mine. And even in a family business structure, I realized I was building somebody else's dream.
Mm.
And I started some side hustles and different opportunities. Like I'm going to put this development deal over here together and this because I could. And I realized when I would ask my family to invest, they were like, "What do you mean invest? Like we own you.
Oh,
We
interesting.
we own what you're working on, right? Everything you do is ours." And in that moment, it was,
Mm.
I remember sitting in the car being like, "What? Like what? Like I've worked on
Wow.
this." And that's the moment that pissed me off. That's
Got
the
it.
moment that I was like,
Huh.
how many other women are in that situation where they work their ass off? Sorry, editors, you can take that out if we need
No,
to.
it's all good. We
Yeah.
say ass on this
But
show. Go
like,
ahead.
okay, they work their ass off. And then they get to that level of like, okay, now I need to grow again. But now I'm at the kind of that edge of my expertise. And so they start bringing other people in. And a lot of times people are like, yeah, I'll help you out. I want 20% of your business, that like Shark Tank style, right?
Yep.
And I was just done with that. And so I gave my parents a year notice that I was going to be relaunching my business. And I relaunched my developer for fee service, where I help business owners, specifically women business owners, take their stable or growing business and bring real estate as a secondary or alternative source of income, and then leverage, if you will, leverage those economic incentives that nobody tells you about, right? We
Yeah.
didn't learn them in school, and to help build your business at 3 times the scale for 1.5 times the cost. And
Well, my ears are perked up.
yes.
Hello.
So,
Wow. Okay.
and that was my passion because so many people were trying to take some of my business that I'm like, I
Mm.
can't be the only woman out here that people are trying to either get on their coattails, nip at their success. I call them the
Mhm.
crabs, right? That just keep pulling us down in life, not those crabs, but the other crabs.
Yes. Yeah.
But and it really led me into, in essence, becoming like the mama bear for my clients, where we help structure the layout so like their business is more effective and efficient in the space. Because a lot of times you don't need double the space. You may need 1.5, but more efficiently laid out. How do we reduce your cost of goods? How do we, again, have you
Mm.
grow without the debt? And how do you bring investors in to your growth, but not your business? So you don't
Oof.
lose control. Because I like control. I want
Oh,
100% control. And I don't want my ladies to lose control of their business.
I love this. I love this. So break that down for me a little bit. So what is the difference between someone investing or owning part of the business versus investing in the growth?
Yes. So a lot of times when they invest in the growth, it's a great opportunity to bring people into the real estate side of the opportunity, not necessarily the business side. One of my clients, oh my gosh, she's going to 10x next year. I mean, she's killing it.
My heart
And
just skipped a beat. I'm so happy. I
oh,
love hearing that.
yes.
It's so good.
And this is how I think women grow differently is she has investment opportunities that provide 12 to 16% return a year
Mm.
for 1,000 and entry fee and 12,500 entry fee. Like
It's pretty incredible.
you don't find those in the
No,
marketplace.
you
And it's
don't.
because she wants to build community in her business. And now when we're putting real estate in there, we're bringing the investors in on the real estate side,
Okay.
not necessarily the business side. So the
Got it.
business becomes like a tenant to the real estate, but she still has 100%, not 100%, she has 80% technically control of that entity with the opportunity, to refinance, buy them out. And we step into what those solutions look like and we hold their hand through the process of structuring the deal for them, but they make all the decisions.
Okay.
Because to me, I'm kind of like that chameleon. It's like I got to absorb what your dream wants to be, and then be like, okay, well, we can go get this incentive and this incentive and this incentive. We can get some of that sales tax back up front to help pay for your land.
Yeah.
Like a
Okay.
lot of things the big companies use that they have big teams to research it. And like, I'm no, this playing field's got to get leveled. And so that's
Yeah.
where I was like, we're going to figure this out. And I took my nerd brain and I went and figured it out.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so I can just hear myself included, right? Like I get so excited when people talk about different ways that we can expand. I want to say our power with money, right? So I always say money is the most powerful tool we have access to right now. We may not love that fact, but it is in the way that the world is structured now. So I always
Mhm.
get so excited when we can figure out different ways to use money and different ways to kind of extend that power, especially as women, right? I always say, like, if women were in charge, we wouldn't be dropping bombs on other people's children. We'd be dropping food, water, and medicine on other people's children. Thank you so much. So,
Yes.
how can we get into that level of power using money in a beautiful way instead of in a harmful way? And when
Yeah.
I hear this, I get excited. And then immediately I know there's an intimidation that sets in. And you
Mm.
and I were talking about this a little bit before we hit record, but I think this is so important for people to get is that we don't have to be intimidated by these ideas or by these opportunities and that they really are accessible. And when I say that to you, Katie, how would you describe to somebody who says, wait a minute, I don't understand. I have a business. What do you mean that I can add to that business through real estate? If we could just break this down to like the most simple way to explain this, how would you explain that so people can get they don't need to be intimidated by this, but this is actually something they could participate in?
Oh, so many ways. So the clearest way I would say is figure out first where you want to go before you start speaking it out into the world. Like, where do you want to go? If time and money were not an option, what would you do? Right? Like,
Mm,
what's your perfect week? Right? And that's what I usually start with because I can look up your brand, I can look up the company, da 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 da. I can assume where you're going to go, but I want to know, like, I want to know the heart, right? Like, what's your passion? What do you
mm.
fulfill? Do you want to, do you want to, like you said, drop medicine and different supplies on families and help not be supportive? Is that part of where your business wants to go? Because that all guides how we put that structure together. And I think what happens with a lot of so I'm going to stay on the straight line first. We'll scroll later, but like, and then step into what does this look like? If I can grow in my business to this, but then I need this, this, and this. Simple bullets, simple bullets. I need more staff. I need more space. I need more distribution, whatever those needs are. And then look at what is that going to cost me?
Hmm.
And now, how do I get somebody else to pay for that? Kind of figure out like we're like dating. Like I always said when I graduated college, I moved to Chicago and I was like, I'm a single income with no kids, right? And I had a boyfriend. So like I wasn't paying for food on Friday, Saturday night. I bought another condo. Like
I
it's
love that. That is so great. That is so good.
and yeah, and I bought another one the next year and next year. But with that is then look at what are you going to do? What are you going to provide to the community? Because they're going to get something from
Mm.
your business, right? And then it's a give and get. And that's where I start because then we can open up opportunities for you. For example, the bakery project that I did, which is one of my first projects that I relaunched my company with when I left, is that said, okay, they're going to add this much sales tax to your community. They're going to take this old blighted building and they're going to increase your property tax. We want that. We want that up front. So that's how we were able to do a $5.5 million development deal with only 1.8 million of bank debt.
Wow.
And my
Wow.
owners, here's the kicker, my owners only had $50,000 put into the deal for 82% ownership.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
And
Wow.
my and their investors made 353% return in 4 years. So everybody wins.
That's really high. I was like, hold please, hold please, back that up for a hot second. Could you say that percentage again, please? Because my
Yeah.
eardrums, I like heard buzzing. Do that again.
353% return in 4 years.
That's bananas.
And
Wow.
now they've refinanced them to buy the investors out after 4 years. They make over $100,000 in passive income off that deal
That's
that they
incredible.
only put 50,000 in.
That's wonderful. Okay. Okay. So I'm starting to see. I hope to everyone listening, right? If you're at the gym and you just dropped a barbell, I'm sorry. If you're driving, please keep your eyes on the road. But I
Yes.
think it's important
Yeah.
to note that this kind of, I want to say, not just success, but this kind of asset building, this kind of liquidity, all of it is really available. And I think
Oh,
sometimes, women have so been left out of this conversation
yes.
for God knows how many reasons, right? But we really have
Yeah.
been left out of this conversation. And I think
Mhm.
it's important that we take that back, right? That we
Amen.
take that control back, that we start having these conversations with each other
Yeah.
and that we start informing each other. So I really appreciate you sharing that. I love that you gave us a concrete example too.
Yeah.
And then if
Well,
someone's listening and they're like, hey, but hold on,
yeah.
what do you think it takes in the mindset shift for somebody who's like, okay, let me try this. I've got 50K in the bank. This might actually be something I'm interested in doing. We all know they're not making more land. That's what I always say. They're not making more land, right? Like
They're not.
the
They're
land
not.
is here. That's all we get, right?
Yeah.
And I want to invest in real estate. What mindset shifts do you see that people bump up against?
Where do I start?
You're
Like,
like, there's a lot of them, Sarah. Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot. One of the clients I'm working with right now. I mean, she is a badass. I mean, she was a bush pilot in Alaska.
Oh my
She learned
gosh.
how to distill bourbon in Ireland. The first woman in the back, and she struggled to build her dream, which is a ranch that she could have like events and people come and gatherings and just really make it a family distillery experience. And so when I met her, she'd been working with an architect for 2 years on this dream. And I was like, okay, send
Wow.
me the floor plan. And I said, just send me the floor plan. Can I look at the floor plan? And so I looked at it and I said back to her, I go, I hope I'm not overstepping, right? Because we always worry about projecting our stuff. And I said, this is not your dream. And I said, I understand why you were frustrated because what I hear you say you want for your business, again, going back to those first questions I asked them, what do you want to do? What's the impact you want to make? What's the experience you want to create? This building doesn't do it. And I said, it's more costly.
Oh my gosh.
It's more costly. You're not living your mission. And I said, do I have permission to play around with the floor plan? And she came back. She's like, you're the first person that's actually heard me in the 4 years. She goes, I gave up on my dream. I gave up on make that this was going to happen. And I'm like, girlfriend, we're getting this done like within the next year. Are you kidding me? Like boom, 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 boom. But we don't learn those things. And I was blessed, to be honest. My parents couldn't afford a babysitter, so I got to sit in those, and not that they couldn't. I think it just wasn't their family business, right? They babysitter never came in just tag along. I got to sit in a lot of those conversations growing up.
Mm.
So I got to hear them just by that. So kind of a like if we said can't in our family, we had to drop and give like 20 push-ups.
Oh my God. I love it.
Yeah.
That's so
And
great.
great
That's
abs
so
in high
great.
school.
That's
But
so good. I'm so
yeah.
stealing that. My poor
Yes.
children. Yes, totally
Yeah.
stealing that. Yes.
Yeah. But it's that mindset, right? How are we physically changing the lever of like, you can do this? And we are often told it's the five people that you surround yourself with, right? So if you go to that pod of people, that five people, and they're not challenging, leveling you up, then you have to figure out where to level up. And like we were talking about before, finding those five, especially as an adult, is really challenging and really hard. And that's why I love that you have this podcast and this community because that's what you're doing, right? You're bringing all of us ladies, all of us girlfriends to the table and then be like, I'm going to share something with you and it's going to
Mm.
change your life. It's going to, explode because I'm going to give you one more example too, when to get out of your head. Do you have a vacant gas station in your town, like a corner vacant gas station?
Not at the moment, but there have been.
Okay,
There's
but
one I
there
can
have
think of.
been,
Yeah.
right? And you've
Yeah.
taken road trips, driven across, right? Well, in that same town that we did the bakery, the city came back to us and said, hey, Katie, there's this corner gas station lot. The guy wants 3 times what the market's worth
Okay.
because now over time, all these little boutique restaurants and bars have like filled the downtown area. And I said, okay, let's figure this out. So we figured out a way for the city to buy the land from the owner with money that was in a budget that we created with a different program. And then we did some EPA work for them, which makes it so people can develop, because that's what people get scared about with gas stations.
Right.
And then we worked with our clients, okay, ready?
Yeah.
To get the land with no money out of their pocket, and then to get $1.8 million available incentives to construct their project.
Back that up for me, please.
Yeah.
How? Because I know one of the things is you talk about how to tap into capital, right?
Yeah.
And you talk about how there's so many things available that we just don't know about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how was that able to be constructed? I'm sure you don't have to go into 45 section B, carry the four, add three, but how did that happen? Like really, like what laws, what do we not know about and what questions do we need to be asking to find out?
It goes back to those three. What are you going to provide, right? What are you going to provide? What do you want your dream to be? And then, like, what are you giving, right? Every
Mm,
business gives something more than its product, right? Do you employ people? Do you do sales tax? Are you increasing property taxes, right? So by increasing that, think about from a town standpoint, what do they do? And I'm
mhm.
always a follow the money. Right. So your numbers of growth are going to tell a story. What's the story they're telling? What's the impact you want it to tell? And how do you get people to literally and figuratively buy in to your vision? Right. So with that, if we follow the money, how does the city get money? Right. Well, they get it through property taxes and usually sales tax. Okay. Well, a vacant, blighted gas station isn't doing nothing for them.
Right.
Now, if we put, say, a $5 million building on there, property taxes go up. If now we have retail stores on the first floor, sales tax goes up. So why don't we share in that risk together and compound it? And
Love
that's
it.
what we did. We told the story, we went in and they teamed up.
They loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are tapping into something I say all the time, and that money flows where the perceived value is highest. It will
Yeah.
always flow to where the perceived value is highest. So if you can share your dream in such a way that someone else
Yeah.
can see the value, that's where the money's going to go. And
Yep. And
that's what
let
you just described. Yeah. Got it.
and let your numbers tell that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we sometimes as women, especially, I find we're afraid to put our heart into that story.
Mm,
And that's our superpower.
mm.
Where we got to get out of our head with it at first, right? You said like sometimes we feel like we can't or this or that. Let your numbers tell your story and let the heart be like the little cherry on top of it. Like the
Oh,
reason you're going to go to bat for your company is because boom, 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 boom.
I love
Right.
it. I love that. I think adding, because it's so interesting, you're reminding me back when in my previous life, right? When I would pitch for venture capital for startups, that
Oh,
was one
yeah.
of my jobs. I loved doing that, right? Because I'd get so excited about the founder's dream and I'd get all like into it and stuff. And then they were like, who is this crazy young girl who comes in and is like, here's why you're giving us all the dollars, right? But I loved doing that. And that I learned over and over that the person who would win the capital, the person who would get the check, the person who would win, right, was the person who had the most confidence. And that what they were actually looking at was the founder who was constantly saying, I'll figure it out, I'll figure it out, I'll figure it out. And that energy seeps through. But what drives that, I think, is the heart and the belief in what they're creating and what they're offering to the world. And I think what you're saying about getting into real estate and finding and accessing the capital that is available to help
Yes.
us all elevate how much we're making, that it's going to take heart. It's going to take heart and a great connection to your big vision. I love how you've tied that together. That's so good.
Yeah. And it's
So good.
it's my fulfillment, right? Like that's where God
Yeah.
put up my heart is like, you're not the only one, honey. Like you're not the only one that gets pissed off. You're not the only one that's trying to have that has somebody take over their business and
Mm,
get in the game. And like you said, it's the heart and the grit because so many times we invest in the founder, right?
yeah.
You can give anybody can give projections and do math. What's the story behind the numbers? And do you trust that person at the end of the day is going to dig in versus jump out when times get
Oof.
hard?
Yes. Dig in instead of jump out. I love that.
Because how
Yeah.
many times is like, I mean, it's tough, right?
Yeah.
It's tough to have a business. We can get in our head. We can people please. We can try and we get off track, right? But it's that accountability to be like, no, I have all these people believing in me. I have all these people investing in me. I'm not letting them down. I'm not letting myself down. And then no's not an option. It's like, what's plan A or B? Which way are we going?
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Yeah. And that is, that knows not an option is part of that confidence that I saw would always win the money
Yes.
because it's
Yeah.
like you said, they'll dive in instead of jump out. And I think I always joke that running a business is not armchair activity, man. This is not for the faint of heart. And it does take that grit, but I love the opportunity that you're providing people to see that there is more. There's even more that can be added in without us having to give away the business is so beautiful.
Yeah.
So Katie, I
And
could listen.
I
Yeah,
have
go
that
ahead.
guilty pleasure of getting to know people's dreams. And so I love it because I feel like all my clients are like in essence become family at some point in the project because there's usually crying some point at the project of like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this was possible, right? And I'm good with that, right? Yeah, show that emotion. People want that. And we are craving that connection, I feel like more as a community, so much more now than ever.
Yeah.
So yes, we have AI coming. Yes, we do a lot of things with our clients with AI. We enable them, empower them, all that. But we almost need to take a step backwards. And what community are you building? What impact are you leaving? And that's where people are going to be drawn to you. It's not that you have this really cool AI widget gadget, and if you're in tech, maybe, but with your business side, it's that connection.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a shared humanity that I think is missing in so many different ways. And I love
Yeah.
how you described even pitching for the gas station, right? At the end of the day, it's really about how do we make this community stronger? How do we make this better? And if someone's contributing to that, that's what we all want and need right now. I think, especially as AI has become more and more powerful, we use it too,
Yeah.
but it's not the same.
Mm-mm.
And I think we know it. We just know it's not the same. So finding this shared connection, this heart, and I agree with you. Anytime we really talk about our dreams, don't we end up crying? A little bit of a tearing up happening when we're
Mhm.
truly connected to what we want to do with our one and only lives that we have here. So good.
Yes.
So
Yes.
good. Honestly, I could listen to you all day. Can we just like hang out and have lunch? I would love that so
I would
much.
love it.
Oh my God. I'd like, they'd be like, could you guys leave, please? Stop talking. It is so good,
Close down.
Katie. So good. I love it. And I know you have a free gift for our listeners. I think it's an evaluation list. Do I have that right?
Yeah, so it's a deal development checklist, and it goes through the checklist if you're looking to do a development on your own, the things to look out for. And of course, I can't just give it straight. I have also like 10 pitfalls to avoid and like 10 other things. So it's juicy, it's good, and it's a good thing to put in your mind to really get out. And I wanted to add another thing, if that's okay, Sarah.
Always.
Okay.
Always.
So as we were talking about this, so I have a buy box, build your buy box bot. And so it's a chat bot that goes through some of the questions that I do with investors to define what are they looking for. So it really helps you get clarity, and it will then draft an email for you to send out to your network so you don't overthink sending it out. You just copy and paste and put it in there.
Love.
Right? We can't overthink. We just got to do. Take
Oh,
action.
preach on it, sister. Preach
Yes.
on it. Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. Fortune favors the bold, right?
Yes.
Always take action, people. Take action. Katie, listen, if someone's listening and they're like, I'm in, I need me some more of Katie, where can people find you? Where can people hang out with you?
Awesome. Yeah, on the socials like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube is my handle is the Katie Kim. And if you want to see some really cool project photos, head over to the Kim group on Facebook because we take our audience with us all the way through. So if
So
you
cool.
think this project, like this building is scary, you haven't seen anything yet. We got some beauties on there for you to look at.
I
So
love it. Oh, you're so great. Oh my goodness. Well, listen, thank you so much for what you're doing to help put more money in the hands of more women. Thank you for the education you're sharing and the insights and the truth about how accessible our dreams really are to us. I really appreciate what you're doing, Katie.
absolutely. And I want to share one of my dreams is when you just were saying that is one of my dreams is to get $1 billion of economic incentive into the hands of women business owners.
I'm
So
so in. I'm
as
so
yes,
in.
is if you can help share the word, right? That we can do this and you can get paid for doing what you want to do.
I love it. I love it. Yes, I'm so in. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you would like those links to find out more about Katie, they will be underneath this video. If you are watching on YouTube, for those of you listening in, all the details are in the show notes. Katie, thank you again, and I hope we get to have you back soon.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.